John Lynch, NFL on Fox analyst, former All-Pro safety. He joins us now. John, what's going on in Denver?
Well, unfortunately, this is what happens when you have a team that is primed and ready to compete and win a world championship, and you don't. You fall short. I had someone to me this morning already say, "Geez, 4 AFC West championships, that's tough." But the one thing that I would say, I know it wasn't easy for John Elway, but from the start, he's been praised and lauded because he's about one thing, and that is winning the entire thing. So I think this is just consistent with what John said from the start, that they were their mission was to not come close, not to win division championships, but to win the world championship. They fell short with a team that he felt and I felt was ready to do just that, and this is what tends to happen when you fall short of expectations.
More likely or less likely that Peyton's coming back now after what just happened?
Well, I think the key guy to watch in this whole thing is Adam Gase. I think Peyton has an offense that's very unique. It's not West Coast. It's not it's not the Ernie Zampese system that's been passed down. It's his own system that he is kind of adapted to, and it's grown over the years. But Adam Gase is a guy who's learned that and expanded upon it. If Adam Gase leaves, I think the chances become smaller and smaller. And so I think that, in addition to Peyton, I think was very honest after the game. I think the interesting thing about his comments, everything I've heard before is he fully intends, and he's always given the caveat that, every March I have a test on my neck and whatnot. But this week it sounded a little different. I got to check my heart. I got to see if that desire is still there. And I've never heard that publicly from him before. Yeah,
I got that feeling that he'd almost resigned himself, that if you said make a decision following that game, he would have retired. But I'm just not sure. We saw in the beginning of the year, even middle of the year, where he was playing at a very high level, and then it was that last month. I don't know if it was just the injury or not, but the other thing, I think John Fox is the unfortunate scapegoat. You have 9 Pro Bowlers on that team, John, and you jacked up your defense. That defense didn't do anything. So it's not just John Fox and not just Peyton Manning. There are a lot of guys who didn't show up on Sunday.
Well, that team's loaded, Dan. You just go personnel, guy by guy, and that team is loaded. The defensive effort, I'm with you. The offensive effort, I didn't see anything wrong schematically. If they hit 1 or 2 of those deep balls early in that game, it's a completely different story. They didn't hit them, so that was lack of execution. Defensively, I thought the plan was terrible. I saw a lot of Von Miller on the field without DeMarcus Ware, or DeMarcus Ware without Von Miller.
Yeah.
I didn't see any creativity of moving them around, and I thought the matchups were wrong. You got a big guy in Aqib Talib on a little guy like T.Y. Hilton, and he was playing off instead of press, and I was throwing things at the TV the other day. I was frustrated, as a former Denver Bronco and a fan, with that plan, and I think it was a colossal failure, and that's I lived through something like this in Tampa, where there was a beloved coach who had done a really good job in Tony Dungy. You work with him every week, and for us, our nemesis was Philly. We kept running into them, and we couldn't get over the hump. And it was so hard to let go of Tony, because he had built that team in so many ways. I think it's a lot of similarities here. And hopefully for the Denver Broncos, the ending's the same, where we made a switch to John Gruden, and he did enough to push us over the top with really what Tony had built. So hopefully there's something like that in the future for the Broncos.
John Lynch joining us. He's a 2015 Pro Football Hall of Fame finalist. You were talking about Tampa's defense, and you saw Seattle's defense. You were out doing that game against Carolina. What does Seattle's defense have to accomplish for them to be mentioned in the same breath with the Tampa defense that you played with?
Well, I think they're way on the way to doing it. They are.
Are they better than your defense in Tampa? This is hard for me to say. I don't think is good up front. They don't have a Warren Sapp. They don't have a truly dominant.
This is hard for me to say because I played it, and I think they're better in the back end, in large part because of the style they play. They're so aggressive. They press you. They suffocate you. I think that's the word that keeps coming in. We kind of played a style where we let you catch it, then we tattoo you, and people coming from all over. We played that cover two. They're a little more aggressive in what they do. And so I think, the front seven probably not quite as good, but the back end, that's hard to argue with those guys.
What's Green Bay do differently this time? I know it's a different Green Bay team, and it's a different Seattle team, too. They've had changes, but what's Green Bay do this time around in Seattle? Give them a chance.
Well, I think they can't just say going into the game, we're not going at Richard Sherman's side. I think Jordy Nelson has had an incredible year. I think you've got to be smart. You've got to be intelligent as to when you attack him, but you can't just go into the game with a defeatist attitude almost that we're not even challenging them. And I think you got to trust your guys. Jordy Nelson, in my mind, played as well as any receiver in the league this year. You got to trust him in certain opportunities and big situations that he's going to be the guy. And I think Green Bay is a much better defensive team than they were at that point in the season. The guy who, to me, made the biggest difference in that game the other day, Julius Peppers. For a team that doesn't dabble in free agency, they sure hit on him. And I thought in so many ways he was the difference maker. And you just hope Aaron Rodgers' calf can hold up. My one question, Aaron is tremendous if all he is a pocket passer, but this is a team where he might need that added dimension that he has, the ability to extend plays, and I don't know if that's going to be there for him, and that in many ways could be the difference this Sunday.
I don't know why Dallas didn't blitz him. That if you let him have time in the pocket, then you're going to lose. But if I blitz you, I make him get out of the pocket. I make him uncomfortable. I didn't understand Dallas's defensive plan in the second half.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think at least some delayed blitzes that let that initial wave, and then you send people at him because there were a couple times where he's kind of hobbling around, flips the ball forward. Yeah. I think you're exactly right. What a courageous effort by the guy, though, and he really just plays this game on a different level. His ability to, he really is on one leg, and his ability to still throw that football all over the field, I thought was courageous, heroic, and just speaks to the kind of player and competitor he is.
Good luck waiting for the announcement there, John, for the Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it.
Thank you, bud. I'll see you in Arizona.
I look forward to it. All right.
That's John Lynch, NFL on Fox, former All-Pro safety, and he got the weight. Tony Dungy's got the weight. You wait to hear your name.